became homeless, and I'm talking about like staying in shelters downtown, you know, holding up a sign trying to get money just to eat. My dad, he went to prison. My brother was in and out of jail. We had 2 of our friends get killed. One day I just literally was watching the basic cable.
You're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV, and your life is passing you by. Well, maybe I'll go to school next year, maybe next semester. No, do it right now.
I watched one of those, and that dude got me so pissed off. I was like, turn the TV off. So I walked to a college. I'd never even been to this college, never seen a college. Walk in the building, I was like, yo, I want to go to school here. The school opened up at 7 a.m. and it closed at 10 p.m. I was there at 6:59 every day, and I would leave at literally 10 o'clock. The studio owner, he would be like, yo, who's this kid who's here before I even get here, and he's here when I leave? And he was just like, do you want a job here? And I was 17 at the time. I saved up like $1,000 and I invested 900 of that into a camera. I'm looking at this camera, I'm like, bro, you better do me something. We walk in and it's David Shan's mastermind, and there's all these big podcasters in the room. Ryan stands up, he says, hey, everyone in this room, I need you guys to know this guy Tybo. He is a studio genius. Everyone starts coming up to me, bro, what's your number? Bro, can we work? I always knew inside of me, I was like, this isn't gonna be like this forever. Pretty much anything that involves audio, lighting, and video, I 100% can do.
How y'all been since the last episode?
I've been great. I've been in the gym, so I'm doing great.
Been working, editing, you know what I'm saying? Doing my thing.
I started my challenge 60 days, 50K followers in 60 days.
Okay.
Around day 3, I'm up 700 followers.
And how much you got now total? 7?
On Instagram, I have like 8,000 something.
So you need
On TikTok, I have
42,000 more
22,000 something
in like 50 days.
50 days. But the good,
So almost 1,000 a day, a little bit less.
yeah, I'm just really banking on like shooting for videos that go like dumb viral. Like I need millions of views. So the first video I made was super niche. It's about the streaming backpack. Like people care about that, but like not really. It's like a more niche topic.
Mm-hmm.
When I was actually doing like research on just seeing if the topic was popping on TikTok, there was not many videos that had like any type of views. So I'm kind of like a thought leader in the space now.
All right.
Even though I only know what Tybo relayed to me and what I saw what I saw on YouTube tutorials. But yeah.
Go ahead and do the intro.
The next plan is just go viral as much as possible.
There we go. All right.
Welcome back to the Creators Clubhouse podcast. We are back with the crew, with the squad. Feeling youthful as ever.
All right, here you go
A
with
lot
this
of old
youthful
niggas
dr-
around
here
It's
we go
like,
again.
come on now.
Come
Like,
on.
A lot of 1900 born niggas in here. But, you know.
Yeah, he's born in 2000s.
Crazy. That's wild.
What year were you born? Man?
you're the oddball, not us.
I'm
so.
95.
I'm 94, so what does damn mean? It's 95.
It's okay, brother. You look youthful.
Introducing,
What year?
94.
94, okay.
The
we got
best year
Tybo
ever.
Audio in the building.
We got to give him a better introduction than that. Look, this man that we got on the podcast today, this man's a genius, man. This man feels like, he makes me feel like I don't know nothing about production, nothing about, like, yo, it's levels when it comes to all this content stuff. And the man we have on the pod today,
Boom.
he's at the penthouse level of the content stuff, man. I could throw this FX3 on the ground right now, break it into pieces, Tybo will put it back together.
Yes, sir.
Introducing Tybo Audio.
What up, y'all? Thank you for having me on the pod.
One of my favorite people. I'm excited.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, let's go.
So we're going to get into your story, man. We haven't really had that many conversations off air anyway, so I'm going to be just kind of diving into everything. So how do you start into the whole production world?
So I started when I was super young. I was 16. I never went to high school, so I dropped out in 6th grade, middle school. I was in the streets for like 4 or 5 years, and literally just decided to go to college one day. I was sitting on the couch. We was in this super raggedy. I grew up poor. My family was addicted to drugs, so I was like in the streets. And one day I just literally was watching the basic cable, you know, channel 1 through 13. You remember those commercials used to come on? You're sitting on the couch. You ain't got a job. You need to go to. You remember those Everest commercials? I watched one of those, and that dude got me so pissed off.
He got you.
Like,
he got
turn
you.
the TV off. I literally turned the TV off, And I was like, bro, I'm doing something with my life. So I walked to a college. I never even been to this college, never seen a college. I just knew it was like maybe a mile away. So I got out, I walked out the house, and I just felt this feeling in me. I was like, yeah, bro, this is the day. Walked to the college, and it just so happened to be the day before fall quarter. So I walked and seen a bunch of people like, walking around. I was like, dang, okay, I'm gonna go to that building. Walk in the building, I was like, yo, I want to go to school here. And they're like, bro, this isn't even the right building. This is like the athletic department. Like, what are you talking? They're like, you got to go down there to the administration building, and then they'll take care of you. So I walk over to the administration building, and I pretty much went to the first lady. I was like, yo, I want to go to school here. And she was just like, well, you're going to need your high school transcript. You need all of this, paperwork, blah, blah. I was like, I ain't got nothing of that. I don't got no birth certificate. I ain't got no ID. I ain't got no social security card, nothing. So she was like, oh, there's a program just for people just like you in your situation. It's called the CEO program. So she was like, you just got to go down the hallway, take a left, take a right, boom, you're going to be at the CEO program. So I walked into there, and they were like, I pretty much explained my situation. I was like, I've been homeless, my family, addicted to drugs, all of this stuff. And they were like, you are the perfect person for this program. We'll pay for your college education until you turn 21. And I was 16 at the time. And they paid for everything, books, tuition. And then at one point they were even paying like me, because they were like, oh, there's certain, programs you can get this money and this. So I was getting everything paid for by this program completely. And, that first week or so, they were like, it's going to take you a long time to get your GED and to get in these classes since you've been out of school for so long. And they were like, the average time could be like anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months. And I literally tested for the GED, and I got it within a week. They were like, wow, you've been out of school for 4 or 5 years. How the hell did you get to this point? And I was just like, bro, just because I'm out of school doesn't mean I'm not learning. So I guess the first point I'd make is, you don't need to be in a school to learn. It's more about how you are as a person. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to pick up a book, do it yourself, because there's people who've been in school 12 years and don't learn a thing. It's almost like a daycare. So from that point on, I got free college. My first year actually was to become a doctor. I wanted to become a doctor, and I interviewed a black dude who was a doctor, and he pretty much was like, bro, what do you actually love doing? And I was like, man, I love music. And he was just like, well, why don't you do something you actually love? Because I don't think you're going to want to wake up every single day and work with sick people. And the minute he said that, I was like, dang, he's right. Like, I don't want to wake up in the morning, go to a hospital, and go to work. Like, I was like, I'd much rather wake up and do something I love. So that day I switched all my classes to music. And in the college I went to, they had a whole entire music building. It was like literally off of the campus, just full of music. And the first day I walked in, I just heard all of like the different ensembles. You could hear the choir, the jazz, you could hear people practicing piano. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm in love with this. So yeah, pretty much took every single class that I could. The average college student takes about like, I think 15 to 16 credits every quarter. Mm-hmm. I signed up for 24 credits.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My school maxed out at 18. But 24?
No way.
24.
I was doing
You were in school from
more
like
than
9 to
4
5,
classes
basically.
a semester.
So the school opened up at 7 a.m. and it closed at 10 p.m. I was there at 6:59 every day, and I would leave at literally 10 o'clock.
Wow.
And eventually doing that every single day, the studio owner, because the manager for the music building, he would be like, yo, who's this kid who's here before I even get here, and he's here when I leave? Like, and he would ask the other people, like, is he here when you guys close the building? They're like, bro, we literally have to kick this guy out of the building, because I'm just there. I'm like, bro, I want to learn how every single microphone works, every single piece of like equipment, anything that I can do to like learn this stuff, I'm here. And he literally was just like, bro, he's like, I want to sit down and have a conversation with you. And we sat down. I told him my situation. I was homeless and blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, do you want a job here? And I was just like, yeah, absolutely. And I was 17 at the time. And he was like, the work study program has been discontinued for the last 3 or 4 years, but I'm going to open it up just for you. So I was the first work study student there at the college. And pretty much it allowed me to be there from 7 to 10 like I was already doing, but getting paid as well. Mm-hmm. So that was like my first like kind of introduction into like, oh dang, I can actually like make money like from this. And from there, like all the professors in that entire building, anything would go wrong, they'd always be like, oh, go grab that kid with the afro, Tybo. like even the professors themselves, like, because it's hard to like stay up to date with all the computers, all the software, but they knew like I was the guy, like, you know, who would just study all of this stuff. So, you know, eventually I got my degree there. After I graduated, they offered me a position there, and I worked there for 5 years up until the pandemic. And pretty much was like the studio guru of anything studio related. Like you said, if you broke something, you know, this microphone breaks, this cable, you know, snaps, whatever, I'd solder it back together, like, you know, figure out all the internals with the multimeters and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got started.
So we gotta take a couple steps back. First, starting off with the day that you left the house and decided I'm going to college. Number one, there's a moment that happens for a lot of people, and this moment happens like incrementally in life. You have this moment where you feel like, for some reason today, like everything is happening and I have to just go right now. Most people let that moment pass them by, and there is a window of opportunity. That excitement starts to die down. Once that excitement starts to die down and it's over with, the window is shut and you're cooked.
Yeah.
So what made you like really just pull the trigger? Did you feel like you just had nothing else to lose? Did you feel like there has to be something better than this? Like, what made you just get up, walk to the college, and just basically be like, let me in?
Besides that Everest commercial, like, honestly, I would say just my circumstances, you know, like my dad, he went to prison. My brother was in and out of jail. We had 2 of our friends get killed. And just like seeing everyone around us, like, you know, I'm like, dang, nobody's really doing anything with their life. I was like, bro, I gotta be that person. And even before, like, they would always be like, man, Tybo's a genius. I've been hearing that since I was like 10 years old, you know? And I was just like, if I'm so smart, why am I doing, like, why am I in the streets? Why am I still trying to like steal from the store and sell weed on the side and do all this stuff? I'm like, bro, I gotta do something with my life. And college was like, bro, why don't you just go to college? And, you know, everything happened just like that.
So did you, because I'm thinking back to like when I was younger, when you grow up poor, you don't really know much outside of your circumstances. Like I don't remember when I realized that rich people was even a thing. Like I just remember being poor and like the kids around me in my neighborhood, that's what they do. And I mean, my mom was in the church, but their parents was doing drugs, and this is just kind of like, that was kind of the vibe. I didn't know about anything other than what I had going on until like high school, really, maybe like late middle school. So like, were you exposed to other lifestyles? Did you have any friends that were well off, or family, or?
So I will say my dad was a true entrepreneur to the core. He ran 3 different businesses. He always worked like multiple gigs and stuff. So my childhood up until I was 10 was actually really dope. Like my dad always worked, always provided. My mom stayed home. My dad had jet skis, multiple cars. Like we was good for a minute, but then he went to jail. He went to prison, so he got arrested, and that's when everything shifted, because my mom was like, you know, taking care of these 3 boys and didn't know how to provide for herself fully. So that was when it really switched, and we became homeless. And I'm talking about like staying in shelters downtown, like, you know, holding up a sign trying to get money just to eat. Like we were sleeping in cars. Like it was definitely like, okay, we're homeless, you know, like we're kicking it with bums and homeless dudes on the street, and like, you know, so it was like, yeah, okay, this is bad. But I always knew in like inside of me, I was like, this isn't gonna be like this forever. My dad's gonna get released. He's gonna get back out. He's gonna get back up on his feet. Like, and so I just kind of had that mentality where I was just like, I'm in it right now, but this is not like where I'm gonna be forever. So
Speaking of mentality, I feel like there's a lot of people that can go through the same struggles and their response is way different. Like even with my sister, we had an identical upbringing, but my response to life was just always different because of my personality. How do you feel like your response like shifted the way that you responded to circumstances, shifted the way you looked at opportunity? Like, what do you think was different about the way that you looked at life?
My mom always instilled like a strong sense of like being connected with God. So like I always just knew like, you know, the biblical stories of like, you know, God will put you through things. So I think that was probably the strongest thing that kept me like, you know, like this isn't just happening for a reason, you know what I mean? Like, so I would always just say, you know, the strong spiritual connection I had with God and my mom teaching me those things, those kind of helped me get through. You know, my older brother, he wasn't as like connected spiritually. So, you know, he went through his own journey, and then I have a little brother, and he kind of followed in my footsteps a little bit, but like, you know, we all didn't end up the same way, you know? So yeah, it was different.
So when you were younger, right, around that high school age, did you have like hobbies? Was you chasing after the girls? Like what What was the teenage Tybo doing?
Bruh, I didn't chase no girls. I was bummy. I was a street kid. I didn't kiss my first girl until I was 18. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 18. So it was like that whole entire time I was just like, let me just learn. Let me just lock in. I loved music. Me and my homies were making beats and writing raps, and that's what kind of led me to do the music thing. But I was always a nerd. Like, you know, like even when I was younger, my dad would be like, yo, take this apart and put it back together. And I literally take apart a remote control and like try to figure out how to put it back together. So it was like my brain was always in that technical space where I was like, okay, let me figure out how this works, how this works. So I was always analyzing things, trying to break it down, reverse engineer stuff. So I've always been technical, you know, even before college.
No, that's fire. I have this theory that like whatever you feel like you're missing in life, if God created you to be a certain type of person, you could go 10, 15, 20 years not making any progress in that direction. And the moment you decide like, this is what I want to do, like the time will be expedited. The amount of time that you'll get the skills, meet the people, make the money, whatever it is, it will be expedited. It seems like on your trajectory, if somebody looked on paper, it's like, this kid is cooked. You feel me? Like it's over with, bro. In the streets, it's going downhill. His pop's locked up. Like, how do you feel like everything changed? Because for you to, number one, start college at a younger age after not being in school, that already shows that time being expedited. For you to go in there and be putting in the work and make all the progress you were making, have that work study by the time you was 17, like that is time being expedited. That's like you could be all the way off path, but as soon as you touch your path, you're making crazy progress. Like, what was that like for you? Were you thinking about it at the time, or was it kind of just like, oh, here I am? Like,
I mean, I always just kept my head down. As long as I was preoccupied with what was in front of me, I was good. Like, you know, you could give me something, I would read a book front to back, you know, like I would just kind of figure out something, and then before I even look up, I'm like, oh, on to the next thing, you know? So I never really had that vision of like looking ahead and being like, where do I want to be in, you know, 2 years, 6 months? I was so worried about like what I had now. And I think that came from like growing up poor, whereas like we didn't know where we were going to stay next month. So like, let me just stay distracted with whatever I got in front of me, you know, and just kind of obsessing over whatever I got. So, yeah.
no, that's fire. So,
Do you think it takes like a level of obsession in order to be successful? Because it sounds like you were like a little obsessed. Like even you being at the school before they opened, the last one to leave. Like there's a lot of people that's not really willing to go that far. So do you think it takes like that level of obsession to be successful?
100%. Like I was like that since I was like 12 or 11. Like I would obsess over like, even if it was just like a video game, like, you know, when I was younger, I'd play a video game and I wanted to know everything. Like I'm like, oh, how do I get the highest score? How do I get this? Like, and yeah, that obsession has always been there. And I think that that's kind of what fuels me. Like even when I walk into a space like this, I'm like, I need to know exactly how these lights work. I need to know how these cameras work. And I would say it's almost like I'm trying to prove something to myself, because I like almost lack that like self-worth where I'm like, I won't be worthy unless I know all of this. So, you know, that was kind of the motivating factor.
Okay, so you get into the program, you go to school, you graduate eventually, right?
Yep.
Then what happens?
So after I graduated, all the professors would put me onto all these gigs. So they would be like, so the college is a great place where people would be like, yo, we're looking for, you know, X, Y, and Z. And the professors would be like, oh yeah, go to this student. And they would always bring up my name. So people would come and be like, yo, we're doing this big corporate event. We need somebody to run the audio, or we need somebody to do this. And they'd be like, Tybo. And so from there, I was getting connected to all these corporate jobs. And in Seattle, like, it's mainly corporations. You got Boeing, Amazon, Microsoft. Like, so I was doing a lot of corporate stuff. Eventually somebody was like, can you do this audio for this venue? And it was for burlesque dancing. And at the time I didn't know anything about burlesque dancing, but it was like, okay, cool, I do it. I show up and I seen how they're running the show, and I'm like, oh yeah, you guys could improve in this area. And they were like, do you know anything about lighting? And I was like, no, I don't know anything about lighting, but I can find out. Like literally. And the next time I showed up, the lighting girl called out sick. So they're like, you're going to run the audio and the lighting. And from there, I literally dove into this wormhole of lighting. And, learning how DMX, like you ever went to a show, like a festival, and they got all the moving lights and everything. I literally went so deep in the rabbit hole. I had to learn everything about lighting. And within a year, I was getting all of these lighting gigs, and that doubled my income. Because at the time, I was making good money doing audio, but I literally doubled my income learning lighting. And then I was like, oh, we're onto something. We're cooking now. So I was taking all these lighting jobs. People were like, yo, we got this show, we got this. And can you do audio? Can you do lighting? Yes, I can. And eventually that kind of led into doing camera work as well, because my friends was doing a lot of photo shoots, a lot of music videos. And they were like, man, Tybo, he has these lights, he can do light. And I was like, watching him do the camera stuff, I was like, bro, I know everything about this mixing, the audio boards. I'm like, bro, how hard is it to learn a camera? I was like, it can't be that hard. I literally went out and I bought a camera. And it's crazy too, because at the time I was living by myself. I was paying all these bills, and I think I saved up like $1,000, and I invested 900 of that into a camera. And I was like, yep, I'm gonna get this camera. And I was like, dang, when you have a feeling like, let's say you got an X amount of money in your bank account, and then you spend it all and it's back to this low number, you're like, dang, like what did I do? So I'm looking at this camera, I'm like, bro, you better do me something. And,
for all my camera nerds, what was your first camera?
It was a Sony camera. I don't know the exact model, but it was definitely a Sony. It was like a gray Sony. I forget what the model number was, but from that point on, I learned everything about that camera, what every single setting did, what I was like, bro, learned aperture, ISO, all of that stuff. And one day I'm at the studio and I'm playing with the camera, and this dude walks by. He's like, hey, bro, you got a camera? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you want to shoot my music video? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I want to shoot your music video. He was like, how much do you charge? I was like, I'll do it for 500. He was like, oh, I was thinking 1,000. I was like, that's what I meant. I was like, yeah, no, like, let's do it for 1,000. And he's
first
like,
music video for 1,000. Wow.
Yeah, first music video is $1,000, and it's still up on YouTube. It's called Old King Don. Shout out to my guy who put me onto that gig. But we shot it over a course of a day. He pretty much gave me creative direction. He was just like, yeah, here's the song, whatever you want me to do. And just shot the music video, edited it together, and gave it to him. Made $1,000, and that made me that money back that I invested in that camera. And I was just like, oh yeah, we're on to something. And then I started shooting more music videos in the city. Like, people would hit me up and be like, yo, how much for a music video? 1,000. Well, I wasn't going back to that 500 anymore. That's kind of how I got started. And then when I finally picked up the camera, it was like an amalgamation of everything that I learned before, where it was like, I didn't need to learn about lighting. I already had all of the lighting skills, and I didn't need to worry about audio because I already had all of these audio skills. I had 2 degrees in audio, and I had all this experience with lighting. So it was like, okay, I'm on to something. I just really got to like focus on this video aspect. And that's when the pandemic hit. Literally the pandemic hit right around that time, and everything shut down. All the studios I worked for, all the events I was doing, pretty much no more. And I was like, man, what do I do? Like, so I had a bunch of unemployment checks that were piling up. Thankfully, unemployment got me through most of the pandemic. But I was like, when everything opens up, I don't think I want to be in this city anymore. And I think I want to go to Atlanta. And mind you, because this whole time I'm in Seattle. And I had a cousin out here, and I came to visit him before for like 2 weeks. And I knew he was out here working with artists and doing photo shoots. And I came down here in 2019 and spent like a little bit of time around him, and he was like, bro, if you came out here, bro, everybody would fuck with you. You got all the audio skills, you got all the lighting skills. And so during the whole pandemic, I'm like, yeah, like let me move to Atlanta. And it's crazy too, because I did a podcast in 2019, and my boss is like, any big plans for the future? I was like, I think I want to move to Atlanta. And he was like, I'm from Atlanta. He was like, bro, why would you move out there? I was like, I just want to put my skills to use. And not do so many like corporate stuff where I'm like this small little thing in this big picture where I'm like, I feel like I can utilize my skills more. And fast forward to 2021, I ended up moving here. It was just a leap of faith. And I kept telling God, I was like, yo, just show me the way and I'll put in the work. And literally I kept telling people, I was like, yo, if I can't find any like people to shoot music videos for and do all of these skills, I was like, I know that a church is going to need my skills, because churches always need somebody to do the audio, to do their lighting, to do their camera work. So I was like, if anything, if all else fails, my backup plan was to work for a church when I moved to Atlanta. I got here within a week. Guess what my first job was?
At a church.
At a church.
Really?
Yep. Literally. I was like, yep. And I'm so blessed for that opportunity because it was for a Change Church with
Oh, yeah, I go to
Pastor.
that church.
Yeah, Pastor Darius Daniels, and I got to see his whole entire team, and I was one of the camera operators. And then once they found out that I did like all the other skills, they're like, bro, like you're a powerhouse. You do pretty much what everyone else does here, and that just led me to making all these connections. People were like, yo, can you do this? Can you do that? And I was like, yeah, like pretty much anything that involves audio, lighting, and video, I 100% can do. And if I don't know it, oh, guess what? I'm back in the lab and I'm going to learn it. So
Figure it out.
I'm jealous.
So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here. And then now I'm here with y'all.
That's fire. Wait, so
How
during... Go ahead. Answer the question.
I mean, you saying during yours might be more in the timeline. You can ask your pandemic question.
Oh, yeah, like during this whole process, like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking when you came to Atlanta? Because for me, like, when I came to Atlanta, it was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be lit. But at the same time, in the back of my head, it's like, yo, it's probably so many people who do camera work and so many people who do what I do. And then I came out here and I realized it's not as oversaturated as it looks on the internet. Like, what was your perspective when you came out here?
I knew that there would be a lot of videographers because I came down here for 2 weeks with my cousin and I met a bunch of videographers, but they weren't obsessive like me. Going back to what you said, like, I would be like, yo, that setting on the camera, and you're like, I don't know what that does. I just know how to make it look good. And that's what I realized. I was like, oh, the missing element is the people who are like real nerdy. Like David be calling me when these specific problems happen and I can break it down because I'm like so deep in the weeds. Like, I can't buy a camera and not know exactly what every single menu, every single setting does. I'm like, no, let me go chat GPT. Let me figure out what this means and digest it so that I can regurgitate it to somebody in a way that actually makes it, understandable. So I was like, it doesn't matter how many people are here doing photography, lighting, audio. I'm like, bro, I know that I'm way more obsessive than the average person. And even if I do meet other people like that, bro, we're just going to be able to, talk more and connect more. And any job that you do that you're not available for, you're going to want me to, come and do that job. So it was like, honestly, I don't even view like other people who are in this field as competition or anything. It's just more of connections because there's an event happening every single day in Atlanta and you can't go to every single one. So you're going to need me at some point and be like, yo, can you do this? Can you do that? So it's just, there's so many opportunities here. So it'll never be oversaturated.
Thanks.
So what's up? So the pandemic ended, you're shooting stuff. How did you transition into, I guess, what you do now with like speakers, entrepreneurs, shooting their podcasts? How did that kind of start with Dave, just the whole group of people that you kind of work with now?
I mean, I think the first person who put me on was Tybo. Shout out Tybo. He owns a studio called Content Factory, and he pretty much, first time I ever worked with him, I walked into his studio just like I did Dave's studio, and I realized all of these little things that could be improved. And that day, I improved everything for him. And he was like, bro, I didn't even pay you to do none of this, and you literally fixed all of this stuff for me. I was like, bro, just because I love doing this. And he was like, bro, we need to connect. And he pretty much saved my number and he put me on to so many gigs with like different big people because his studio is in the radio building. So, we're doing podcasts with all these famous actors, musicians, celebrities, everything. And I'm like, this is what God brought me here for. Like, I'm in front of people that I used to watch on TV and like, look at me coming from homeless shelters. And now I'm working with all these people. And then, Tybo, he put me on to these people, started working with everyone. And then my name just started buzzing around. He calls me Studio Jesus. Because he's like, yo, he'll save your studio. Like, if you got something wrong with your studio, call Tybo. Like, he called me SJ for short. But yeah, I just started getting connected with all these people, and he would always drop me, like, like do a drop for me and be like, yo, you got to connect with this guy. So I went to a mastermind in February of 2024. And they were like, bro, there's this podcast mastermind. You got to show up to it. Like, and I was literally just working the studio with Hardly Initiated, Tyshawn and Ryan. Okay. And they were like, bro, we're about to go to this podcast mastermind. You need to be there. And I was like, bet, let's go. We walk in and it's at Nehemiah's Buckhead estate. And it's David Shand's mastermind. I never even heard of David Shands, by the way.
Yeah.
I met him that day, and there's all these big podcasters in the room, you know, like everyone that I worked with, a lot of the people in that room. I just didn't know David. I didn't know, but pretty much halfway through his mastermind, they're like talking about strategies to grow, what's happening in the industry. Ryan stands up. He says, hey, everyone in this room, I need you guys to know this guy, Tybo. He is a studio genius. He is literally one of the best engineers I've ever worked with. If you guys need anything, you guys got to connect with him. And I seen David's ears perk up like, who's this guy? And then from there, 2 other people stood up. Katie stood up. He was like, yo, this guy's the truth. He's like, I can vouch for him. He is 100% the guy to connect with.
In front of the whole crowd?
In front of everyone at the
That is
mastermind.
lit.
Everyone starts coming up to me, bro, what's your number? Bro, can we work? And then finally at the very end, David comes up to me. He's like, hey, bro. He was like, I got the studio. He's like, I want you to come through. He's like, when can you come through? I was like, tell me when. He's like, what about tomorrow? Tell me what time to be there. Send me the address. And he sent me the address. He's like, yeah, we start shooting at 10 a.m. So I show up here at 10 a.m. the next day, and same thing. I walk in the studio. None of these lights are working. This one's out. I walk into the back. They're shooting the social proof, and I'm like, are you guys even utilizing this? Are you guys? And he's just like, bro, just help me. Like, and I was like, all right, bro, I'm gonna get you all the way together. Cause like I said, bro, I walk into a studio and I'm already thinking about how every single cable's connected, what features could be used more, how to make it better. And from that day on, me and Dave just were locked in together. He was just like, tell me what I need to get. I was like, order this. Literally, he'd order it. We put it in, and you know, I seen so many visions for this place of like, you know, we could connect all the rooms together and have these. And he's just like, bro, let's do it. Let's do it. And yeah, I forgot what the question was, but yeah.
No, I mean, you basically answered. You told me how you got here. That was great.
Yeah.
Your story was definitely inspiring because I've met you last year at Podcast Summit. Exactly what he's saying. He was connecting everything, but he also knows how to delegate. Like, he was able to be like, hey, you do this is how you do this, and go over here. But just hearing that you connected spiritually, you remind me of the story of Job, how like things got taken from him with the homelessness, and then look where you are now. You know what I'm saying? You kind of free range, come here, help stuff. I've seen Dave call you about a chord on FaceTime. You answer it. I feel like you're asleep, answer it, and then go back doing what you're doing. So definitely an inspiring story. Now I kind of know like more of the whole roundedness why like you're obsessed. Like, it's not just one-off thing. Like, this guy studies this. I'm pretty sure you're still learning something right now.
Oh, facts. Yeah, when I go home, I'm literally researching new
What's
stuff.
something that you're either an app, a system, or what's kind of like something you're learning now?
Right now, it's I'm doing a lot of home studio builds, so just trying to figure out ways to make it easier for my clients to like, you know, go live, utilize their platforms. I just did an install for Wall Street Trapper. So, you know, just trying to figure out ways to get systems in place that make it easier. Cause he has a whole show that takes like 9 or 10 people to run it. I installed his home studio and he was just like, bro, he's like, you know, you about to get like 8 or 7 people fired, bro. He's like, he was like, bro, he's like, you don't know what you just did. He's like, bro, I'm spending so much money in running this weekly show. He was like, bro, you just literally cut down my budget for the month in half by setting up this studio for me. And I'm like, that's what I'm like, bro, I got to figure out that more, and like, you know, saving people on the overhead of like, you know, he's like, I don't need a camera operator and this. And he's like, bro, I can wake up, go to my studio, go live. He's just like, he's one of those people. I'm like, dang, like I got to find more clients like that who just need those kind of systems in place.
Yeah.
No, that's fire. And I think the messaging too, like putting that in the messaging, because what normal people think is attractive, it's very different for like rich people. Like they have a whole different sets of reasons why they would spend money on something. So like presenting it as you could cut half of your staff if you just had me set up your studio, that's a no-brainer sale anywhere.
Yep.
So I feel like the messaging is important, but that's your main focus, right? That's your main offer to setting up home studios?
Yeah, I mean, I like working with podcasters too. Like, yeah, there's just so many like variations of podcasts that I've done. I've shot over 20 different types of podcasts, over 300 episodes. So, you know, helping, I got this people who do a sports podcast who want me to come and help. So it's just like, I really like utilizing like my different areas of skills that I can implement into your guys' production. So I'm like, oh, you know, like you guys could do better reactions by doing this. You hit one button and now it pops up, and just kind of getting people's systems in place and just seeing their reaction of like, dang, I didn't even know that was possible. And even like, it feels weird sometimes because I'll go to these studios and I feel like I'm stepping on people's toes because they're like, bro, my producer didn't know how to do any of this. But then the producers are looking up to me and they're like, yo, I'm so thankful you came through. I'm so glad you showed me this. And I'm like, oh, I didn't step on your toes. I'm literally just helping you elevate. So, yeah, no, like I love doing that and just implementing my skills.
No, that's fire. So if somebody's starting from scratch, they don't know anything about anything. What are like the top 5 things you would tell them to get? How would they get started? What gear do they need? Like, what's the basic home studio setup?
So first I'd say book a consultation with me. I would say, bro, YouTube is a phenomenal source. ChatGPT and YouTube in combination. I think ChatGPT can write you out like the simplification of like, okay, here's the steps, but then you always need to go into the like YouTube and just like figure out who's actually doing it so you can see it. Because even like with ChatGPT, I'll be like, write me a diagram of how to connect all my cameras, and I look at the diagram and it's totally off. And I'm like, oh yeah, ChatGPT just isn't there with the technical understandings. But if you're like, ChatGPT, help me learn, you know, the basics of how to get clean audio recording with this microphone. It'll break down the steps, and then anything that you see in there where you're like, I don't know what this means, literally type that into YouTube, find a video of somebody doing it, and then kind of do it from there. And then, you know, with equipment, I would say it's just based on your budget. Like I tell people all the time, if you have an iPhone 13, 14, 15, or even the new 17, you have studio quality camera and audio at your fingertips. They're like, what camera do I? I'm like, bro, just use your iPhone. If you're just starting out too, iPhone 100%. Like, you know, the microphone, if you're just doing audio, the microphones in iPhones are better than the studio microphones we had, you know, 10 years ago. So you can do a full podcast if you're just doing audio. If you're doing, you know, video, bro, the camera quality in the iPhones is going to blow most cheap older cameras out of the water. So it's like, yeah, just start basic. And then obviously if you want to work up, there's just different levels of like, okay, I want to spend $2,000 on a camera. FX30, you know, that's a good cinema kind of starting. If you're like, bro, the budget's unlimited, like Dave, I'm like, bro, just get this Canon, get this Sony. Yeah. I'm like, bro, spend $8-10K and then invest in lenses and then lights and everything. So,
all right, so let's say somebody already has an iPhone, they already have a laptop, they have $500.
Yeah.
What's the first things? What do you think they should do with that 500?
Microphone, 100%. Get a wireless microphone. I like the DJIs. Those are going to cost you about $300. But if you don't want to spend that, I would definitely just get something, you know, $100 on Amazon. The cheap Temu microphones a lot of times too, like if you get them, if you know how to get the level right, you're not holding it too close where it's distorted, but not too far away to where it's picking up a lot of ambient noise. The power of editing now, we got so many AI tools that'll remove the noise, you know, boost up the vocals. Like, you know, honestly, just get a microphone. That way you can set up the camera further away and still get that audio close to you. And then from there, I would say probably just get an editing app, use CapCut. I use DaVinci, so DaVinci is always going to be a good option. $300 one-time payment. You never have to pay any subscriptions. But CapCut is also great. So. Yeah.
I mean, number one, the first thing I hear when you said that is like, if you did a video comparing all the different mics, it's like a 10 million view video right there.
He has done one.
But you know how Mr. Beast will do the style of like just back-to-back comparisons? Mm-hmm. I think you steal that format and you're literally showing like whatever $1 mic, $5 mic, $10 mic, then go up to $10,000 mic. It's a 10 million view video right there.
Facts. No, yeah.
No. $10,000 mic.
Oh no,
there is.
Yeah, no, yeah. The Sony C800, we had those in the studio. The noise.
He knew the name.
yeah. No, like I'm a real big nerd when it comes to microphones.
I think you did I've watched it before. You talked about like the different mics. You kind of like held it up and you're like, this is different than this one. So.
Yeah. No, I think the content side, I'm so in the business, it's hard for me to kind of take a step back. I'd be so busy doing the actual work where I'm like, let me actually take a step back. And that was one of my goals for this month, is kind of take a step back and you know, focus more on the content side, the offer side, and not be so caught up in the doing, you know. So
outside of like, you know, client work, getting paid because we got to eat, what's like the favorite part of production that just like, because like, you know, we shoot and we come to work and do things, but there's always something inside of us that's like, you know, I love editing to music, or like I love lighting, or like what's kind of like your part outside of like getting paid to do this? What do you love about like
my brain cannot stop working. Like, even I went on vacation, and the whole time I'm on vacation, I'm thinking about audio, I'm thinking about lighting, I'm like, my brain is so obsessive where it's like I just can't stop thinking about it. So like I'll be watching the news and I'll be watching the lower thirds, and I'm like, oh, they could have, adjusted that, or they could, add this in, or they're doing like the side by sides. And I'm always thinking about production, like whether I'm watching news, consuming social media, I'm like, oh, they did this caption style, like I haven't seen that, let me figure out how to do that. Like, so I think it's just all of it. Like, I can't watch a Hollywood movie without being like, oh, they must have used those lenses, they must have used these lighting.
that over the shoulder does not match the audio? Every
Yeah.
movie, every
Yep.
single movie.
Yep. So I think I'm just so obsessive where it's like my brain just consumes it so much. It's hard for me to think
Turn
of
it
something
off.
else,
I'm so jealous. That's like, I've never been that obsessed about anything, and I want to be, but I'm just not.
You just gotta
Like,
try.
are you like born with it, or do you develop it? Like, have y'all ever been that obsessed about something?
I read the manuals to everything I like buy. So like the Mac, I read there's a physical manual. Every camera, cars, like I go like deep dive into like everything. So I feel that. Like I used to work overnight at a hotel during the pandemic, and we shut floors down. There's nobody in there. I asked my manager, I was like, can I bring like my laptop or anything? They're like, as long as you answer the phone, bro, you got one person you're checking in. So like from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., I was like watching music videos, watching tutorials, watching different creators, like just all night learning to keep me awake. And then I would go during the day and shoot, take a nap, and then like go back and work overnight. So I get that, like going home and learning something. When something new comes out, like I've been, even though I'm not planning to buy them right now, the new set of like Sony night, like those new cameras that came out, like me and him were looking up the specs and we were like comparing it, and like it just happens. It's like a level of excitement with it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm obsessed with content, but I do feel like it's a switch you could turn on. Because I naturally have like just that ADHD. I'll do a deep dive on something randomly. But like one day I just decided, like, bro, I want to be the best. And, like, nobody's going to outwork me. Nobody's going to spend more time on this than me.
Honestly, when I'm working, and this is just me to me, I feel like I'm the best at whatever I'm currently working at. It's not like lowering anyone else. Like I feel like what I'm doing right now, can't no one do it like me. And it kind of like, that's just how I kind of have to edit or like work. It's kind of like a mindset to help motivate.
Yeah, but I feel like talking to Tybo also lit a fire under me because
Oh yeah.
I like, you realize it's levels. It's this video that went
Yeah.
viral like a long time ago. If I find it, I'll try to put it in here.
Have you ever seen that video of the ant and the pen?
No.
They get an ant on a piece of paper, and the guy on YouTube, it's like got millions of views on YouTube, just with a biro, draws a circle around the ant. And the ant runs to the edge of the circle and believes it's trapped, and it will not cross that line. It will not cross that line. Looking down on it from a bird's eye view, you go, oh no, that's just a figment of its imagination. They do the same with a spider. They get a piece of paper, there's a little spider on it, they draw a circle around it with a biro. It will not cross that line. As the guy's drawing the circle smaller and smaller, he accidentally draws it so close to the spider that the spider steps over the biro, and then it can never ever in its life be trapped by the biro again. And you watch it just run off the page, and he's trying to trap it again, and it can never, because it realizes that's just a wall it's built in its mind.
And I feel like that's how it is sometimes. We meet somebody who like, or we see something, we hear something that makes us realize, yo, there's no boundary. Like, literally ever since the last conversation we had, number one, I've grown almost 1,000 followers just from that. And that was like less than a week ago when we had a conversation. Number two, every single piece of gear that I see, like I'm literally, I pay for multiple AI subscriptions. I'm taking pictures of stuff and like putting it like, what is this? How do I use this with this? Based on like, everybody puts their life in the ChatGPT now. Based on everything you know about me, how
Yeah,
can I
you
use
can
this
do that,
piece of
yeah.
equipment?
Yep.
I lost a lens cap, a specific lens cap. I went to the store to replace it. And I don't even remember the name of the store, but there was so much gear in there. And I literally spent hours just going up and down the aisles, like looking at stuff that I've never seen, Googling it, trying to figure out like, what does it do? Because I realized like, okay, there's another level. And sometimes you just got to realize like, yo,
I can 3D print you a new lens cap.
Whoa.
this man's got a 3D printer at home.
Yeah.
He just bought a new 3D printer.
I know, it's $1,400. My first one was only $150, and I was like looking at this new one. I was like, it's $1,400. I was like, should I do it? I was like,
So
and
what kind of stuff did it print? Anything?
you can print anything, yeah. All my friends be like, can you 3D print me a gun? I'll be like, absolutely not.
Yo, Tybo be printing the switches.
Yo.
Yeah,
Tybo's
yeah.
lacing the streets with
And
switches.
it's always my hood friends. I'm like, bro, you do not need one. No, absolutely
Oh my
not.
God.
But
No,
yeah,
that's
no,
funny.
I 3D print anything functional, like, you know, anything that's in my studio where I'm like, oh, I need something to hold this lens or hold this adapter. Literally, I'll just go into my program, design it up, print it myself, you know. But yeah, lens caps are something you definitely can print, and I can put your logo in it and stuff. And
Bro, you
I
have
got
to
laser
make me buy a 3D
engraver.
printer. This is crazy.
No,
I was gonna ask you, can you engrave another bottle for me?
I literally engraved a bottle for her. So yeah,
You're
Did y'all see my
casually
bottle
talking
that I had
about.
that says K?
Uh-huh.
He did that.
You're casually talking about a 3D printer as if it's like an iPhone. What? How do you operate a 3D? Like, you type it in a program, you tell it what you want, and then like it just prints it. Like, what's?
so funny enough, I got into 3D modeling because somebody was like, yo, we need to shoot an ad for this company, but their product isn't released yet. So pretty much what it was is, you ever walked on the Beltline and you see those big kiosks that people can go up to and see what's happening on the
Yeah.
Beltline and everything?
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, those weren't there. And he was like, I need to shoot a video where it looks like it's there. And he's like, I know you're a genius. You're going to figure it out. And I was like, bet. So I downloaded this free 3D software. I modeled a kiosk, never seen it in my life. And we implemented it in the video. And we had the girl walk up to the kiosk and scroll on the kiosk, but it never existed. So from that day, and he told me, he was like, bro, I'll pay you $1,000 if you figure this out. Bet.
Oh, bet.
Pay me
You
$1,000.
just told the right man the right plan.
So I was like, yep, let's do it. Literally took me 3 hours. We shot the video, literally a girl walking up to this thing that never existed, but I modeled it in 3D software. And then from that moment on, I was like, bro, this 3D software stuff's fun. I'm like, and it just comes intuitively to me.
It's fun.
No,
Like,
literally,
what?
yeah. And
fun.
so I started modeling everything in 3D, and that's how I do those 3D logo
Mm-hmm.
animations. So you see, you know, for Social Proof, I did
Yeah.
the logo animations. Exactly. So I do all of the logo animations and stuff like that. But pretty much anything that you can think of, I can just pretty much make it in a 3D software. And then I didn't even realize you could 3D print until one day I got an ad, and they were like, do you want to buy a 3D printer? I was like, wait, hold up. What's a... And then I looked at the price. I'm thinking they're going to be thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
They were like, get one now for $50 off. It's only $200, so you get it for $150. I was like, take my money. Bought it that day. I went to Micro Center. Is that where you went?
Yeah.
Yeah, Micro Center. So
Yeah,
went to
that's
Micro Center. Gave them $150. Went home. I tell you, I was up for 3 days straight.
I
No
believe it.
sleep. No sleep.
What was the first things you made?
They give you like test prints. So
Okay.
I was test print, and then I immediately went into my 3D software, and I had all these projects of things that I made before. And I'm like, oh snap, I can make all of these things that I've been designing for a whole year into real tangible things. And that blew my mind. I was like, dang, it's no longer just in this software. It's actually tangible in my hands. And that just blew my mind. So from there, I started 3D printing. Like, you go to my studio, which is at my house, you'll be like, how did you make that? How did you make... Bro, I 3D printed it. Everything. Like, my
So you
mom
got a
would be
custom
like...
house.
Yeah, no, literally, they 3D print houses. And so,
Oh God.
yeah, that's where my next venture is going to be. I'm going to 3D print a whole studio.
Yeah, I saw those. Those are crazy. That's fire.
Yeah.
That's lit.
Have you ever thought about like teaching or mentoring?
I worked at the college for 5 years. So all of the students would come up to me and they would be like, you know, show us how to do this. All of the professors I worked with were kind of older white men, and they specialized in rock. But all of the students coming in wanted to do like rap and modern music, and they didn't have any understanding of it. So it was like, they'd always be like, go ask Tybo. He's more up to date on those types of artists and that style of mixing and all of that. So I was like helping students while getting paid. So I would always like, you know, teach them how to analyze mix, how to go into the software, get these sounds. So I did that up into the pandemic, pretty much for 5 years. But when I moved here, I was so busy in doing it. So I feel like I do want to go back into the teaching, where it's like, you know, showing people and just inspiring people. Cause you know, people are like, bro, you inspired me to learn this. You inspired me to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I just need to kind of figure out that more. So definitely in the future, you'll see me popping up with, you know, workshops and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
You need to create the next Tybo. You can't do it all.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the next Tybo coming from? Gotta make the
Well,
next
when I find wifey, we gonna create them from scratch.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
He gonna be learning
It's
at
gonna
3
take about
months.
18
Headphones in.
Yeah, it's
He
gonna
gonna
take
be
about-
mixing.
Yeah.
First gift mixer.
Nah,
Go
but
have a little baby genius.
But honestly, like I would look for somebody like Jay, where he's young, he's hungry. You know, he's like he already said what I
Don't
would.
hype him up, please.
No, of course he was like, bro, I'm gonna be the best that I can. I had that same exact mentality for so long, where I'm like, bro, I gotta be the best. And yeah, bro, anybody who's like that, I'm like, yeah, you could be the next Tybo. Like honestly, if you're obsessive, even you're like, bro, I read the manuals, bro. That was me when I was younger. Every single manual I read. But now it's like Chat GPT. It's like, you know, break all these points down. Like it's making us lazier, but honestly, it's helping us speed up, like, you know, our learning curve. So,
All right, I got a question because number one, growing up in school, I was always in like the advanced classes and all that, and I was always around all the nerds. It's not a lot of nerds that are functional in life. You feel me? Like,
What?
bruh, I'm telling
No.
you, like the smartest people, they're not making money. They don't have a lot of friends. Like,
I get what
it's
you're
just-
saying.
no, this is 100%.
I get what you're saying.
I
This
get
is accurate because when I was in school, there was people who were just as smart as me, but they had no social skills. And
For
I
sure.
think being out of school for so long, it taught me, like, I was in the streets around, you know, drug addicts and hood niggas and all of this stuff. And I like had to learn how to be, you know, how to communicate, how to talk to different people. And so, and then going from that into the corporate, where like these people were like, bro, can you do these corporate jobs? I had to code switch, dress different. So it taught me those skills where it's like, you
Take
could be
the
the
chain off.
smartest and know everything about everything, but if you don't know how to like have, you know, customer service and work with clients and how to speak around certain people, then all of those skills aren't going to really get you anywhere. So yeah, it is a balance of like, are you fun to work with, you know?
Yeah.
And people always be like, bro, he's great to work with, but he's also a genius. And I think those two hand in hand, those will get you in so many rooms.
No,
definitely agree.
100%, bro. I relate to that so much because when I was young, bro, we was in the trenches, bro. But once I got to high school, my grandmother worked she was a teacher, so she worked at a school in like the suburbs area. So then we started going to school out there, and it was a huge like just culture shift for me. But I was still throwing parties. I was doing concerts. I was like still doing stuff, but then also I was now around the suburban kids and all that. And then I started working in corporate America. After I closed my store, I started working for the sports team, the soccer team, and I was in this corporate environment, and it like changed everything. And like literally that's the exact balance. When you get the streets and then you also get the corporate side of it, and then you're just intelligent, you know how to like operate, figure stuff out, bro, that changes everything.
Facts.
This was so good.
No, this was
I need to
amazing.
become obsessive about something. I feel lazy now.
Sorry.
You're
I didn't mean
obsessing
to have
about
that
your
effect.
content, Kay.
I don't feel obsessive about it. Like, I'm not staying up 3 days in a row to do content.
You'll feel it.
Is there a reason why though?
It's not that interesting to me.
What is interesting, Kay? There's something that interests you.
Not that much.
There's something.
Not as much as this.
It don't got to be at that level, but there's something you find outside of what you do now. There's something you're like,
I don't know.
that's
Let me
cool.
think about it.
You have a pet?
No.
Oh.
You know what I'll say?
Yeah.
My advice for anybody who like doesn't really know, like they're not really obsessive, they're not whatever. If you have something that you know you want, just blindly commit to it. Cause there's so much in my life that like I blindly committed to random things and like
Come in here.
yeah.
So let's say
like,
I wanted a bunch of hoes. How do I get started?
the first thing I'll say.
Get your ass on Tinder.
I was going to answer the
I'm
question.
kidding. No, don't answer that.
All right.
That's too much game for this podcast.
Yeah. This is crazy. Yeah.
But no, like literally, if you just blindly follow something, like write down on paper what it would look like. Like, what do you feel like obsessed looks like? All right, cool. Like for me, when I came to Atlanta, I was like, okay, I'm about to just put my head down and work. And so obsessed looked like being the first one to show up, being the last one to leave, and just going further than anybody. Before I came here, I was working for fighters. So like, these are people who are putting their life on the line, and they're nuts. There's something wrong with every single one of those niggas. And they would be like, yo, when I go into a fight, I know I'm gonna win because you're not gonna go further than me. If I break my arm in this fight, I'm not stopping. If I break my leg, I'm still gonna keep going. There's nothing that you're gonna do that's gonna take it further than me. And so it's like, for me, it's just taking that with content. Like, bro, you're not gonna write a better script than me. You're not gonna package this message better than me. You're not gonna give a better experience to the person that I'm working with. Like, they're gonna have so much more fun with me when I go out and be their cameraman They gonna be like, yo, what did I just sign up for? Yo, who is this dude? Like, I have a whole set of things that's like, it's not even about being better than somebody, but it's like there comes a point where you have to just decide that your differences is what you're gonna be the best at. Like, what is it that's different about you? Is it the way that you present? Is it your thought process? Is it the way that you speak? And for me, it's like everything that's weird about me, the fact, like, what cameraman is, even Tybo, what cameraman is just walking around, we got the chains on, we got our own, like, swag, we got the way that we talk. Like, I would go into corporate environments and talk the same way I talk to y'all.
Shameless plug, I made this chain myself.
But that's like,
Start wearing my chains.
No, I can make you a chain. I got you.
Hey,
that's
put our money on it.
I would say, to add to your obsession thing, I would say that if you had $1 million right now and didn't have to work a day in your life, whatever you would want to do is probably something you could obsess over. So, like, let's say I had $10 million right now, I still would be in these studios. I still would be obsessed. Like, the money isn't something. It's just like an extra step that gets me to, like, you
You got to live.
But yeah, if you had $1 million right now, whether it be like traveling or like, let's say it's like some sort of arts or craft, like that's probably what you could obsess over. So that's
journal about that tonight.
No, of course, yeah.
Some of my obsession, I like to shoot, but my obsession is editing. Before I had a camera, I would go on YouTube. I would download random clips of Kobe, make a montage, do one, do another one. Then when I finally got a camera, I would take my camera outside every day. Record leaves, record cars driving by, practice editing. All right, cool. Let me put a fast song here. How to chop, chop, chop. All right, it's a slow song. Oh, emotional, sad piano can kind of tie into making people sad. And then when I went to film school, I took a class called Theory of Editing. And it talks psychologically of like slower music will make you feel this. If I put a certain shot right here at a certain time, the audience will feel like this. So like that was just my example of assessing. I feel like once you journal it and you write it down, you'll feel it. And I like that example. You said $1 million, what would you still do?
You didn't have to work. If you had enough money, like $10 million, you didn't have to work. What would you do?
I would still shoot stuff, but I probably would shoot my own stuff, like teaching, tutorials. Like I really do like enjoy that. Like YouTubers, that's like, hey, bought the newest $30,000 camera. Here's how we work it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I don't think I could ever chill. Like we was talking about the other day. It was like marrying somebody who had more money. They was like, yo, if my wife had like $100 million, I would chill.
Bro, I'm doing
For me,
laundry.
it ain't a dollar amount that would keep me like chilling. It would, no matter what. It's because it's not about a goal or a thing I want to do. It's just like, bro, I'm living. Any living organism is always moving, and like that's just.
So you don't rest.
If my girl had $100 million, look, baby, we gonna invest in this 3D. The 3D
look.
We gonna do something with this money.
Nah, for sure. All right, what gems do you want to close the pod out with?
Everybody drop a little gem.
What kind of gems do we want to go with?
Lighting, camera, how to get in the business.
We'll start with a gear gem. We'll go all the way down the line and then end with a mindset gem.
So a gear gem would be utilize what you already have. A lot of people chase what they don't have. Like, oh, I need this. I need, like my brother, he hit me the other day. He's like, bro, I need better lighting, or I'm like, bro, work with what you have. If you have something, learn it, utilize it, and just use what you already own. Like, you don't need to buy the latest and greatest. Like, you know, he got an iPhone 13. I'm like, bro, that's all you need. You don't need this fancy $2,000, $3,000 camera. I'm like, bro, you got a $50 ring light.
Boom.
If
little Amaran, little pocket light.
I'm like, bro, you don't need anything else. He's like, bro, I don't know how to edit. I don't have this fancy. I'm like, bro, you have your phone. Download a free app. There's so many free softwares.
When you open it, they give you tutorials.
Yeah. So
they literally are like A, B, C.
So yeah, that's my gear gem. Yeah.
My gem would be find what you are obsessed with and obsess over it. That way you become an expert at it. Tybo's an expert. Anything goes wrong, we call Tybo. You need something, we call Tybo. So become the expert by obsessing over it.
Or even added onto that, before we called Tybo, we had an episode. Everything was unplugged and plugged it back up. Audio's not rolling. Tybo didn't even wait for us. He called me like, hey, I see something's going on. This is how you fix it. And then we were back up.
I was scrolling on Facebook and I see, oh, David Shands goes live. Let me see what he's talking about. All I see is him talking and there's no audio. I'm like, oh, God. I was like, let me call Armani.
Because we were listening to it, but like that was the first time because everything got unplugged for Podcast Summit.
Yep.
So things that I was like, I can hear it on the Roadcaster.
Yep.
It's got to be fine. let me see. My gear, Jim, would be, I would say specifically with like cameras, learn the exposure triangle. So like ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. But once you learn those skills, don't be afraid to break them. Like, you can go different shutter speeds, like if you want to go faster to have a certain effect, or if you want to have like a slow motion blur, or if you want to really customize your aperture, go 1.4 or f8, depending on what you're looking for. Like, learn the skills, but don't be afraid to break them creatively, because you can learn camera skills and suck, you know what I'm saying? So like that customization and the not following the rules is where you find like, oh, this is his creative little way of doing things.
No, that's fine. I would say my gym is just, bro, pull the trigger as quick as possible. The thing that I learned,
Not him. Boo, 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 boo.
I learned something about myself this past weekend that changed me forever. I realized that I was holding on to this idea I had of my potential so strongly that there were certain things I wouldn't even attempt because I liked the idea of what it could potentially be over. Like, if I try it, I got to deal with what it actually is.
Can you give us an example of that?
I'll give you a perfect example. I've been editing people's videos, giving people content ideas, getting people millions of views for years now. And my own Instagram had 7,000 followers. And it's like I wanted to get on the content. I wanted to start posting and all that. But it was a piece of me that subconsciously was holding on to like this idea of, if I ever do start posting, I'm gonna go crazy. But now if I do start posting,
You stop before you start.
I gotta deal with the reality of this. And I was holding on so much to the potential of what I thought it could be. And so after I realized that, the next thought was, one of my mentors always tells me everything's leading to something. So I thought, what is this mindset leading to? And I realized this mindset is leading to me being 50 years old thinking, yo, if I would have just back in my day, I could
started that pod.
If I would have just been on the Instagrams and posting on the TikToks, like that's literally where it's leading to. And so I realized, yo, potential is nothing. Potential is a made up like trajectory that has no basis to it. So now all I have to lean on is what I actually pull the trigger on. So let me just not even think about what it could be and just create something in reality. And
So was that gear, or you did your mindset one first?
That's just the gym. But yeah, just pull the trigger because we don't have unlimited time, bro. Time passes.
You do. You're born in 2000 something.
Bruh.
This man 20.
2008.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Bro, I'm about to be 23. You know, I told myself I didn't have to take life serious until 23. Because in my mind, I didn't go to college. And so that would have been the time where I would have graduated, and that would have been my first year in real life.
Nah, you setting stuff up in college. Don't wait till you're done.
That's how I saw it. Like, as long as I'm trying, 23 is when I really got to lock in. I turn 23 next month. Now I'm like, yo, bro, I got to lock in.
Bro, I ain't know
Bro,
the
you're
birthday
getting
next
old.
month. Hold on. What we doing for the birthday?
I don't know, man.
He need a welcome to Atlanta birthday. All right, we'll figure something
We
out.
going Magic City.
On a Monday.
Why on Monday?
Magic City, it's like the most popular day.
Look, he don't even know. Too young.
I don't know.
You're married, sir. How do you know this?
I recorded.
We're taking that out. So
We're cutting that out.
yeah,
Or
we're
I
cutting that
quit.
out for sure.
I
We're gonna believe
recorded
that.
I recorded Future's birthday party at Magic City on a Monday.
Fire.
That's how I know the Monday. They wasn't even trying to let camera folks in. It's like, he good though.
He good though.
That's tough.
Can I get some of that footage?
It's pinned on my page.
I'm kidding.
All right, Tybo, what's your mindset, Jim?
My mindset gem was just watch who you're around. My parents used to say, if you hang around assholes, you're gonna smell like shit. So
Okay.
you know, the other version of that's more PG is if you hang around 5 millionaires, you're bound to be the 6th. So whoever you're around, you know, just watch how they move, how their mindset is, because you'll slowly become that. You know, for many years of my life, I was just by myself, and I built these kind of online communities. Even though I've never met these people, I'm like, bro, I'd look up to this person on YouTube. I'm like, bro, you're my homie. I'm watching all your videos now, and I'm going to soak up game from you. And, you know, the power of the internet, you know, you can join Facebook groups, Reddits, Discords. And, you know, if you can't find the people in real life who you want to be around, find them online and just, you know, don't be scared to isolate. A lot of people are like, oh, I got lonely. And it's like, bro, sometimes you got to be lonely. You know, I was lonely for years when I was locked into school, and all of my homies were in the streets still smoking weed and partying. But I was just like, bro, I got a purpose. I got to do this. So don't be scared to isolate and watch who you're around.
Okay.
So if you guys want to follow me on social media, you can find me at Tybo Audio, TYBOAUDIO on all platforms. And yeah, shoot me a DM if you got any questions, and be looking forward to working with y'all.